Imagine you walk outside and it's a beautiful sunny day. You look to your left and your neighbor's house is on fire. You see a little girl in the window banging on the window. Come save me, come save me. And you pause and you go, hold on a second, I could save her, or I could call the fire department. The fire department is on the way, little girl. Don't worry, stay right there. That is exactly what people expected me to do this week when I went and saved people from pyro spawn campers. That is what happened this week when I had people trying to tell me that I did the wrong thing by saving people from pyro spawn campers. If you guys didn't hear, there's a lot of drama going on in pyro right now. We have the first ever playtest, and pyro is a lawless system. And so this Reddit post arose last night after someone from my chat came in and they said, hey, Berks, I'm being spawn camped at Patch City. Is there any way you can come help? And I said, you know what? Screw it. Let's do it. And we got about 10 people together. We killed these guys a couple of times, and then it came to a conclusion. This is the clip that got posted. Are you guys ready? Oh. Oh, yeah, railgun guy. It's pretty bad quality. He's reloading. He's reloading. He's dead. I don't know. Get ready to shoot him when he comes out. That's pretty much the whole thing. I think this is actually a different post than the one that I saw. But essentially, what had happened is there's no winners in this scenario. You can't send someone to prison. You can't kill them and then they go somewhere else. There are no winners. Eventually, it comes to the stalemate where you're holding someone in their room and that's it, right? And so what we were doing was we were doing exactly that so people couldn't equip gear anymore so that the people who were friendly could pass by. We weren't shooting people who were in default suits. We did shoot a couple of naked people because, well, you know, I'm pretty sure they were the people who were spawning without gear, and they were acting like it too. So these people were, you know, using every sort of exploit that there was available to them. And we were just trying to fight fire with fire. If that makes me the bad guy, then I will gladly accept it. To be completely honest with you guys, I'll gladly accept it if that makes me the bad guy. This was Jared Huckabee, Disco Lando's thoughts on the situation. I don't think this really involves me, but I mean, maybe you saw a clip and thought I did, but this is what Jared had to say about the whole thing.
Chance to experience it and why certain things were this way and that way, and then we got like a 17-minute section that's just dedicated to camping and griefing at the spawn habs. You know, you have the option not to. I understand the thing lets you, but it's a choice to do and a choice not to.
And then this guy,
every one of us are capable of making those choices.
And then this guy in chat tags me. Yo, listen, I'm innocent, okay? Or at least, you know, I plead the fifth, okay? I plead the fifth. I was trying to help out a friend, but I did a little bit of digging into what was going on, and, you know, maybe was this guy who made this Reddit post involved? And I found out that this motherfucker who made the post on Reddit was in my stream yesterday claiming that we were on the same side as him. And so then afterwards, he decides, I guess we're not on the same side, and then runs to Reddit to make this post dragging me through the mud. Isn't that insane? Same name and everything. Literally exact same name. I did see your tweet. Thank you, Dirk. Yeah, shout out to Double Dirk for that information. So, absolutely crazy. I don't know what you guys think. I would love to hear from some people towards the end of the podcast what they think on should CIG keep their hands completely off of the pyro situation in general. Should they let it be a lawless scenario? Obviously, they're going to patch City, which is where the arm assist is broken currently. So it's really not a big deal, but I would love to hear what people's thoughts on her. I personally think spawn camping is cheesy for sure, and I would only ever do it against people who are doing it themselves. That being said, I think that there could be some cool station takeover missions in the future that people could do PvP wise. CIG could potentially make, but we'll have to see how they develop that kind of stuff. Yeah, but that's pretty much all the news on that. Up next on Pyro, we have the playtest almost coming to an end. I think it ends this week, but also some people were able to, this is kind of a spoiler if you guys don't want to see it, but some people were able to get to the moons that are outside of the jumpable range currently in the Pyro playtest. Currently, Pyro 4, 5, and 6 are unobtainable. You can't get to them, but someone is able to get to the moons. This one kind of looks like Magda a little bit. This one sort of has a Microtech vibe. But yeah, these are the moons. I'm not sure how to pronounce all of them, but these are all moons. They're all names of fire. This one kind of looks like very Mars to me. This one's cool as well. I don't know if these are binary or if this is like the planet. I know that Pyro 5 is supposed to be a gas giant. This is, I think, Pyro 4. And this one is Terminus. This is Pyro 6. So I think that, in my opinion, these kind of look unfinished. I don't know what you guys think. These look like they are not the final models of the planets. They look close. They look really close. But when I look at pictures like these, I know they're small. These almost look like older planet tech, and I could be completely wrong. It's just the planets and moons that we've seen, or I guess only planets that we've seen in Pyro, are stunning. So I'm pretty sure these are placeholder just for the moment while they get the like final versions of these in. But nonetheless, like very impressive people were able to get to them. I don't know how they did it, but it was apparently a group of like people from the French who did it. So cool for them. Cool for them. That is pretty much all on Pyro news. Up next, we have the IAE coming up, guys. If you haven't heard about it, it's in 6 days, 22 hours, and 37 minutes from the time of this being filmed. And if you don't know, there's going to be a free fly from the 17th to the 30th. And I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. Test and fly over 100 spaceships and vehicles for free, new vehicle announcements, and a special edition vehicle paints and items in game. See you there. I think that CIG has a big chance here to do a really smooth free fly, and we're just going to have to see. We're just going to have to see if they can, I don't know, pull it off. Because all the free flies in the last like year and a half have been pretty rough, huh? I do think the paints look really cool if you guys haven't seen them. These are not them. These are the paints. Here we go. Yeah, these are the paints right here. If you haven't seen them, I think they look awesome. I think they look really clean. They look very Halo-esque. Jax McCleary will return this year. They did say Jax McCleary will return in Pyro 2953. So, or 2954, 2953, one of the two. They did say. So, I'm thinking the answer is yes, but we're going to have to see. This is the Corsair paint. Redeemer. I think they all look really great. I would say the color profile this year is good. Some of the ones in the past, not so good. This one's been pretty good in general, I would say. Pretty good in general. Also, along with the IAE, any paints for the Reclaimer? Maybe. Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Along with the IAE this year, if you guys didn't see, the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo 2953 pledge updates. Okay, so we've been seeing a number of you preparing for the upcoming IAE, whether it's picking out your ship to pilot during the free fly or sorting through the web hanger of ships and upgrades. We want to give you a heads up about some of the upcoming price changes to a selection of ships that are going into effect with the IAE 2953. So first of all, the Super Hornet is getting a $5 increase to $185. The Constellation Taurus is getting a $10 increase to $200. The Constellation Aquila is getting a $5 increase to $315. The Redeemer is getting a $5 increase to $330. The Miscalls D, this is a big one, is getting a $100 increase to $550. And the RSI Orion, which is a concept mining ship, if you guys don't know, is getting a $75 increase to $650. So I don't know like how I necessarily feel about these price increases. Personally, I'm not losing any sleep over it. I just think another reason to buy your ships in game. You know, the top comment I think says really well what the community is thinking is, Jake, is there any chance that you could advise why concept ships are one thing, but it would be good to understand why existing delivered ships, the F7C, and the Aquila, have little to no love in the area, little to no love for years and are getting high price hikes. And I think that's totally fair. I think that's totally fair question to ask. And I think that the general standard answer of, oh, well, they were just expected to go up, I think is a little bit dull. But again, either way, I'm not mad at this. I'm not like trying to like, riot or anything. I just think that it's definitely interesting. It's definitely interesting. So IE this year, we'll see if it's good. Coming with the IE, hopefully this year, guys, is the Star Citizen Alpha 321.1 PTU. And so I've got the patch notes here. A lot of big stuff. If you guys haven't seen everything that's in here, way bigger than I expected. Vehicle tractor beams. The SRV is in. We were even able to like tow a bomb into SBK. You can like tow people through QT. I think the only ship you can't tow is the 890 jump with the SRV, pretty sure. SRV maybe could be towed with multiple of them. I'm not sure. But yeah, one is not enough. Other than that, the A2 can be towed. The Carrack can be towed. Lots of big ships, small ships, super easy to tow. And then vehicle tractor beams are literally changing the way that the game is probably going to work forever. They are doing a very interesting, almost like, I think it's going to be more of like a almost Sea of Thieves style, like loading gameplay. You are going to have an additional person in the cargo bay helping you out. But I think it's a big step in the right direction in really bringing more power to multi-crew, which is what we need, right? Another thing that is very interesting is Siege of Orison changes. Something that I would love to hear about from either of these topics is, number one, the Squadron 42 AI is being implemented in 321 PTU. And I would say that so far I haven't noticed any really changes with it, other than they seem a bit more focused on me. But I haven't seen the AI do anything spectacular. I don't know about you guys. But the other thing is Siege of Orison changes. Did anyone get a chance to play Siege of Orison? And how were the updates to the criminal side of Siege of Orison? If you sided with Ninetales, if you don't know, this is huge. You now get a marker on your head that says like Ninetales sympathizer. It literally is like a god marker. I personally am not a fan of the god markers, but the way this mission is laid out, I feel like it's almost needed. Because it's a very linear mission. It doesn't feel like a dynamic event. It has a start, it has an end, and it plays more like a raid than anything, if you ask me. It plays more like a raid. You saw a video of the AI being very scary, and honestly, I think that maybe it just needs good server FPS and the new technology. We're going to have to see. But I'd love to hear if anyone had any crazy experiences or thoughts on that. Someone was telling me that their Siege of Orison experience was really, really sweaty. Like the AI was behaving really well. So I don't know. There's hope. There's hope for sure. Other than that, I think data heist missions are coming in. I still have yet to do one. I've been trying hard, but I can't find them. Ship trespassing is in. I think it's a good step in the right direction. And what else? I think that's pretty much it. I might be missing some big stuff, but some definitely really cool stuff. New player experience coming to New Babbage is cool. And then the vehicle headlight refactor. I don't know if you guys saw this. I am not seeing this working currently. The vehicle headlight refactor does not really feel like it's implemented correctly because some of the vehicles still have really, really bad headlights. So yeah, up next, the Zeus Q&A. If you guys missed it, we're not going to read all of this. I have a whole video going over the Zeus Q&A. But essentially, they answered some questions that were burning on people's hearts about the comparison to the Spirit versus the Zeus. And not only that, but also on top of that, they talked about the variations between the two and the potential of a lot of ships being brought up to the standard of the Zeus when it does eventually come out. I imagine that whole rework is going to happen with master modes, reworking components, reworking weapons, and the whole flight system, right? It's a huge, huge task. So I don't expect CIG to do it anytime soon. I mean, we might even get the Zeus before we get all of that. So it looks cool. I will link this in the description if you guys want to check out the Zeus QA, though. Some really interesting stuff in here. And then the final item on the docket, guys. And then we're going to take callers. So if you guys want to get prepped for callers, anyone, and you guys can just go ahead and jump in it's the HTL waiting room, and I'll take the first 5 people is how we're going to do it. Okay. So the last thing on the docket is we got confirmation from a VFX or a ship technical artist that there is a documented flowchart of the animations for pooping and wiping in the game. And he says, I you not. It will be a wild mocap session if and when it ever happens. No physical feces has been planned, but we could probably borrow tech for the eye strings to show a pre-flush state. We'll focus on these features. Man, this is such a weird conversation. I don't know how you guys feel about this. I feel super, super weird about having poop gameplay in the game. Is this weird to you guys? I'll give you guys some time, okay? I'm going to bring in Taylor first. All right. So first caller up is Taylor. The Taylor in the flesh. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Okay. I'm good, bro. I'm good. Okay, what do you want to talk about?
Well, first of all, I think the first topic is pretty obvious.
Okay.
The whole camping pyro drama.
Okay.
If
All right.
it's good.
What do you want to talk about it? Do you think it's good?
I obviously agree with everyone in the community, in your community, about like some Redditors being a little bit, stupid, or I don't know how to say it. But I think some of them have a little bit of right when they say that maybe you could have kill the campers a couple of times and then just leave them be with the reports. Report them, get the footage of their names, and then just leave them be, because you're also breaking TOS by doing that, right? So do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I think like the thing is like, I think it's more of like a situational thing, because it's almost like a in the moment fighting fire with fire. It's less of a I wanted to go spawn camp people and more of a I wanted to go help people who were asking for my help, right? And so I do understand the whole idea of like, oh, well, you're breaking TOS too. I totally get that. And you know what? If CIG decided that they wanted to ban me for it, then I welcome too. Because the thing at the end of the day, like, we were trying to do the right thing and help people. And the majority of this drama is being caused by people who, were just trying to run my name through the mud because they were doing it themselves, So
yes,
I do think the best solution is that it just gets fixed, obviously, right?
Yeah,
but
completely agree.
It's a pretty lame answer for someone to be like, hey, Berks, I'm currently being camped at Patch Station. Is there any way you can come help me out? And I'm like, nah, bro, just report him and move on. It's like, oh, dude, that really sucks that you're trying to test pyro, you're trying to have a good time, and you're being stopped from doing that. So I was just trying to be a helping hand, but I do agree with you. Breaking TOS is still breaking TOS, and it's situational. It's just fighting fire with fire. If that makes me the bad guy, then so be it. I'm fine with facing the consequences of giving back people what they deserved, what they were serving out. If that leads me to a ban, if it did, I don't think it will, but I would be fine with that. As long as they get banned too.
Yes, I agree. I agree with everything you've said.
Yeah.
And the next topic I want to talk about is the Zeus MR.
Okay.
Like, I'm already concerned that right now it's going to be a little bit of a crappy ship, just a little bit like happened to the Antares. I don't know, what do you think about
the Zeus MR?
The Zeus MR, yes, the bounty hunter version. I think like one of the mainly problem it has is it's an interdictor. It has a QED, well, a quantum dampener, but it looks like a kind of a chunky ship. They said that it's going to compensate the 3 shields with armor, and that it's like more armor, more weaponry. It's bound to be a slower ship, but it's an interdictor, so it's contradicting each other. Those two things.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it's interesting, right? Because it's about the same size as the Cutlass. It is supposed to have 3 size 2 shields, right? But we don't know really how. It's a hard conversation, right? Because they're talking about bringing other ships up to its standard. Is that going to actually happen or not? I don't know. So it's like, is it going to be OP? Is it going to be bad? I think it really is riding the line of like, we just don't know yet. Because didn't they say that you're going to be able to use the EMP and QED from any pilot or any scene? I'm pretty sure they say that in the Q&A. So
yes.
That is a huge advantage already, right? And so after you take that into account, you also take in the shields. The interior space is really well designed. So I don't know, man. It's a tough question that I think that we're just gonna have to wait and see how the MR plays out.
Yeah, I'm also basing this like opinion on just how the Antares is doing. Like, who is playing with the Antares? I think nobody. I haven't seen an Antares in this, like, since it came out.
Yeah,
and that's supposed to be like a better performing. It's a heavy fighter. It's supposed to be more sleek, quicker, with still the QED and the EMP, but it's still like biting the dust in the hangars of people like catching dust.
Do you think that it would be a better balance if they just took away 2 of the guns from the turret instead of all 4? Like they took away 2 guns, and so the turret gunner was in charge of the EMP and QED and had 2 guns versus had nothing at all. Do you think it'd be more used?
With the Antares?
Yeah, with the Antares.
Yeah, I think the Antares could be like the pilot would have the EMP and then the co-pilot the QED.
Okay.
And just like a little
That's
turret
cool.
on the top that doesn't have to
or
like,
even
move
reverse
and reposition.
Right? Even reverse would be cool because if you had the QED for the pilot and then you had the EMP on the co-pilot, you would have to like, be like, okay, I'm flying past in 3, 2, 1 and hit him. And then it kind of creates the gameplay they wanted for the Antares, right?
Yeah.
So I think that could be cool. That could be cool. That could make sense.
It's just give more to the co-pilot. The poor co-pilot is just pressing 2 buttons. Come on, CIG, please.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, dude,
Berks.
I think good takes. Good takes. Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. All right. Have a good one, dude.
All right. Same. See ya.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm just mixing some stuff around real quick. All right. There we go. We got Dragons next, and then we have Azume. And then if one more person wants to come on, I'll take one more caller after them. Yo, Dragon, what's up, dude?
Hey, brother. How's it going?
I'm good. Okay. Yo, hit me with it. What do you want to talk about?
Well, first, I wanted to say thanks for yesterday, actually, which is going to be probably a different take than a lot of people had. Thanks for doing what you did. I think that was necessary and long overdue. And I'm actually sorry that you're getting the grief that you're getting for it. And I hope nothing comes from it.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. You can't do anything these days without getting someone coming at you in some way. So it's all good. I mean, again, I do the same. If I was presented with the same scenario today, I'd do it again, I think. I'd do it again. Because...
Well, that's good because my take on it is if they were going to ban you, right? If CIG wanted to ban you, well, they would have to take some responsibility because they had the choice to let it happen or not. They knew the history of griefers in this game. They knew it was going to be a free-for-all. They sold grenade launchers and railguns at the station. They knew this was going to happen.
True. I think that the second they realized that Patch City had no armistice zone, they should have known, right? I think that everyone expected it, for sure.
Then they went so far as to like make the elevators a spot where you couldn't shoot back. I mean, I've seen other people doing that. You've seen them too. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. And the armor issue as well. Like, I don't know. I'm going to clear the air for everyone who doesn't know about it. But essentially, the armor issue is that the fortifier armor from NPCs that you find in those hangars, they're not supposed to be lootable. That's why when you go to loot them, it's not bugged. Their armor is literally not on the list because it's not supposed to be lootable. So when you equip that, you're getting 75% damage reduction. And so that was also a pain, right, to deal with people using that. And so a combination of that, I think, in my opinion, the reason why the elevators have armistice zones and those other areas don't is probably just because it was an accident that there was no armistice zone in the first place. That's what my theory is. But maybe they opened it up and they just wanted to run a social experiment. I'm not sure.
Well, the social experiment is that people, go to their baser instincts with no consequences.
Right. No, totally. 100%.
I mean, that goes kind of back to the whole argument of, well, pyro is a lawless system. Well, there's a difference between lawless and rule, right? Because if you look at the civilization of pyro, there's lots of planets, there's lots of people, there's lots of space stations. They have an economy, and an economy cannot survive without rules.
Yeah, or at least some sort of function, right? At least some sort of function. Hey, we're done taking callers, by the way.
That's all I wanted to say, brother.
Okay. All right. Yo, thanks for jumping in, dude. I appreciate it.
See you.
Okay, just a short one with Dragon there. All right, up next we got Azume. Am I saying your name right?
Can you hear me? Yes, you almost got it right. Yeah, that is correct. I mean, you can call me Azume. That's totally fine.
Okay, cool. All right, well, thanks for joining, dude. You got any questions or like things you want to talk about?
So I have a couple of things I want to mention. You mentioned as well. I want to put the pyro at the very end first. So first, let me get to the others. First, I feel like the pooping mechanic is too much. We really do not need that. Like, I understand drinking. Now I understand the hygiene they mentioned about, like, let's say in Citizen Con. Those kind of make sense, but come on, guys, pooping is too much. Please, I hope that just like was an idea and it never gets to reach to the game, because that is too much. I don't want middle of fight. Oh, I have to poop. Where I'm supposed to go middle of the fight or middle of the FPS game, middle of the dog fight.
Code Brown, dude. Code Brown. I'm sorry, boys. All right, you're going to have to fight the Vandal by yourself. I got to go drop a deuce.
Exactly. So that doesn't make sense to me. Hopefully, it's only something was like back in the very, very earliest stage, and they never gonna think about it. That's about the pooping. And about the Zeus, everyone talking about it. I feel like when a lot of conversation comes out, a lot of rumors comes out that what is the Zeus like concept is right now is for after the engineering comes out, and they said a lot of ships gonna be up to date by that time. So people should not take this Zeus.
True.
Oh, Zeus is too OP, and this is all we're gonna have. We're gonna sell all of our ships, no C1s, no other ships, no Cutlass, because all of them gonna get balanced. If they need buff, they're gonna bring up, of course.
Yeah, of course.
But again, we're gonna see how it's gonna turn out. That's for the Zeus itself. For the price increase, for the IAE, it doesn't make sense to me at all. That's the other thing. I just don't understand why they're increasing the price overall.
Can we pause for a second and can I talk about the Zeus thing? Because I think, or sorry, it wasn't the Zeus thing. It was what was the first thing you brought up? You were jumping around.
It was the pooping.
Oh yeah, so the pooping gameplay. Just so you know, I wanted to tell you this. One of the devs a while back, this may have changed, but they confirmed it would never be a requirement. It would always be like a role play, like animation. So the pooping gameplay, as far as I know, the current plans is for it not to be required to do, which I think is a necessity. I personally wouldn't like that. I know a lot of you guys are like, I want the pooping gameplay, but personally, I'm glad it is optional. So I agree with you. But yeah, and then the Zeus, and then what was the third thing you wanted to talk about?
Oh, the price increases for the IAE. I feel like I just doesn't make sense to me if they're increasing price. This is my personal opinion. I'm not saying this is something applies, but in my personal opinion, like backers buying these ships, supporting the game, why are we getting punished for buying the ships? Like, why are we getting price increase? Like, you should have backers like kind of excited to buy more ships. Why are you punishing them by increasing the price of different ships? Maybe someone wanted to spend $500 get an Orion this month. Now they have to think about another $100. It just doesn't make sense to me why they're increasing it. Maybe they have their own like a reason for it. I'm not sure, but that is my take for the IAE price ships.
Yeah,
I don't know
no,
what you think.
I'm not losing any sleep over it. Like I said, I do think it's kind of like a strange move in some way, but I don't know if it's like the other option is, because eventually the price of these things will go up, is how I think, right? Like whether it's 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line or 20 years down the line, like eventually just the cost of things is going to go up in general. I'm not trying to give CIG an excuse to increase the price of things all the time, but the increases that we saw outside of the bigger ships in concept were like $5-10 at max, right? So that's not a massive deal to me. But yeah, like you're saying, the Orion. If I had to guess, do you think there's any chance the Orion comes out in the next 3 years?
3 years.
Maybe, right?
If everything they said is correct, if we add majority of the developer on a Squadron 42 and they don't have that much of workforce and they are all converted toward the PU, I would say even earlier than that.
Yeah,
But again,
so I think
it's a copium mask I have on, but again, I'm not sure. But
I think it's a maybe, right?
Everything is true. Yeah, it's a maybe.
Yeah.
It's a maybe.
So, and I'm not trying to say it's not going to come out. What I'm saying is if it does or doesn't. Look what's happened with the Banu Merchantman. It's slowly increased through the years. We're going to end up having one of the most expensive capital ships, cheapest capital ships ever, is what I meant to say. Because it was like, what, chat, 350 when it came out? How much was it? 250, 350? It was way lower.
It was around that price. Yes.
Yeah, and so the people who got it for that price, honestly, it's probably not the full reason, I'm going to say, it's not the only reason, but I bet that's part of the reason when the team left that was working on the Banu Merchantman, I bet that's part of the reason why they didn't continue working on it, because all the other ships that size with equal effort are making them 4 times as much, or much more. So having a ship, what is it now, 650? It's the work to payout ratio, I think, is a lot lower for that ship. Not saying that CIG is only going to do ships like that, but it makes sense to prioritize ships that are going to generate more revenue and also are the equal amount of work. So they have to get all the ships done at some point. Why not focus on the ones that are going to make them the most money first? I don't know. So.
That is correct. And I feel like a Banu Merchantman might end up around like $900 by the time it's finished. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Because all of the features have. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I want to mention one more thing about the Pyro. About the Pyro PvP and everything. So first, I wasn't involved in anything that you did yesterday about saving those guys in the getting a spawn camp. But in general, after they fix that issue on that specific, let's say, space station, so people cannot spawn camp, I feel like CIG need to leave the Pyro PvP alone. Like they should not make any adjustment. I see a lot of comments, posts, give us a PvE server, CIG. I don't want to go. This is part of the game. This is part of the game loop. They should not touch it because of some people that don't feel safe. Because again, I'm not a good pilot. I went to the pirate playground and I got shot at 100 times. I died 100 times. Why I'm not complaining? Because it's part of the game. I don't understand why people are complaining about that.
No, yeah, it is part of the game. And I think like the script is really probably going to be flipped on people when the high security systems come in game. I hope I'm right about this, because my dream for a high security system is the exact opposite of Pyro. Like the entire system's covered in a massive comm array. Maybe there's little pockets of no comms, but it's very, very far and few between. Somewhere like Grim Hex would never exist in a high-sec system. If you attack someone and commit a crime, you're going to have NPCs that are like turned up to a 13, automatically just hammering you immediately. These are the kind of things that I would like to see in a high-security system that would bring balance to people who don't want PvP. Now, PvP should be able to happen there. It should just be extremely difficult. The same way it's extremely difficult for someone who doesn't want PvP to function in a place like Pyro. So I think it's all about balance.
I want to ask you one question about this. Do you think if we had AI Blade, let's say just to fill out the turret gunner, just turret gunner, no physical NPC, would have helped these people that flying in pyro and complaining about this. Just like, let's say similar to AI that like Hammerhead have.
Okay, I'm going to give you a quick answer because we have 2 more callers, and I could talk about this for literally the next 2 hours. But I think that the answer is maybe, because what's stopping the PvPers from also having those same AI blades and gaining the same advantage over them, is my answer for that. And, you know, some people have different theories about AI blades and how they're going to be implemented in the game. I think that they could be a great help to solo players, or they could just be a baseline for everyone to have. Like, orgs are also going to have AI blades. Groups are also going to have AI blades. Like, there's nothing stopping them as far as I could tell. So we're just going to have to see how they're implemented. They could be really good. They could be really bad. I'm excited for that kind of stuff, but also nervous. So, yeah, it's, I think, up to CIG to see how they're going to implement it.
Fair enough. Well, thank you for having me, Berks, and you have a great rest of your day.
Yeah,
Thank you
Asame,
again.
thanks for joining, dude. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, up next we got Canadian Hero 9. Yo, Canadian, what's up, dude?
Hey, how's it going, Berks?
I'm good, bro. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm not too bad. Yeah, so first of all, the whole pooping thing. I think it could be good if they introduced it, but like, it could help you figure out maybe something's wrong with your character if he's like sick or something like that, or cheating, I guess. So it could be like a thing that, depending on what it is just as long as you don't gotta poop every hour. That would be ridiculous. That'd be way too often.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so like, just like, because right now, like me personally, I only go to the bathroom, you know, a few times a day in a 24-hour period. So like, there's no reason why your character should be going to the bathroom more than a few times a day. And obviously, we can hold it if we need to, right? So...
True. Guys, where's our holding gameplay? Press F to hold diarrhea in. Okay, you got to spam it. I appreciate you coming in and playing devil's advocate for this, because this is gameplay I definitely don't want.
I don't want it either. I would rather it not be there, but I'm okay with it if they do it right. If they don't do it right, it would be terrible.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm personally, I'm okay if it's a cosmetic thing. I want hygiene in the game. I think if you go to like some crazy, you know, terraformed planet and there's like toxic gases and like maybe you get exposed somehow and you have to like wash yourself, or like maybe before you go see a mission giver, you have to like jump in like your ship shower real quick. Like, that's fine. I'm cool with that. But if it's something that like, I think that we have to walk the line of tedium versus gameplay. And what's another game that does that really poorly is, unfortunately, as much as I love the game on paper, Elite Dangerous, right? We saw this with engineering gameplay where things became more tedious than they were gameplay. And so it's a completely different concept of the game, right? Like, we're not talking about status systems here, but we just want to make sure that we're not making the game so tedious that nobody wants to play it, except like a few hardcore sim Andes. And so, yeah, I'm so for status systems in game. I'm so for like dehydration and water and all that stuff. It just needs to be, because where do you draw the line? Does your character need to sleep every 8 hours, or does he need to, you know, clean his ears or brush his teeth? Like, where do we draw the line?
I think the line is at hygiene, where you need to shower before you see somebody. All right, I have another question for you.
Okay,
this is something. So I made a post on Spectrum about this, and then it got no traction. So whatever. But I had this idea where me and my buddy kind of talked about this. We were talking about how with the bigger ships like the Hammerhead, the Carrack, and stuff like that, there just isn't much for like what's the word I'm looking for?
Multi-crew?
Multi-crew. Like wanting to do it because the payouts for these.
Okay, we're talking about mission balancing.
Mission balancing is so low right now, like, because the top of the like the ones that come up, the service beacons, whatever, is like 350,000 once in a while, and those don't always pop up. So the idea that me and my buddy had were it was like the captain's quarters computer would get specific missions that were for these giant multi-crew ships. And you couldn't get these missions from the from your mobiGlas or anything like that. You had to go to the captain's quarters. You had to look at the computer in order to get them. But then these would also give you much better payouts, and your bounty levels would be much higher. So like instead of taking out 3 ships, you might have to go and take out 8 ships. But now instead of 9 people on the Hammerhead splitting a small little 300,000 payout, now it could be 800, $1 million, so that there's actually an incentive to do these massive massive multiplayers on these ships, because then it makes it feel worth it. It makes it give these ships actual proper gameplay instead of just, hey, let's go take out a $15,000 bounty together, guys, and stuff like that. And there's other things too, like the Reclaimer. They could have missions that are specific to it and stuff, and just kind of so on and so forth.
Yeah,
what do you think about
absolutely.
that?
I actually really like that idea. I think that's great. Maybe making it where like this is just a bare bones example, but any ship above a size 3 shield that has like multi-crew capabilities could get access to those missions somehow.
Yeah.
And someone in chat said the problem is that you're pay getting content anymore, and I understand that take. But the thing is like there's gonna have to be gameplay for capital ships. There's gonna have to be gameplay for these big multi-crew ships. There's gonna have to be gameplay,
100%.
and there is right now. There's gameplay that you cannot do in a starter ship. Like you literally cannot. It's just not possible. And so that at some level is going to have to exist. And that's not necessarily our fault. It's how CIG set up their funding model. And so I think to balance the game around that now, I think would be poor game design, because at the end of the day, it's like we don't want to balance it around a kind of, in my opinion, broken monetary or monetization model. Don't get me wrong, it works very well. But I think in a perfect world, CIG wouldn't have had to sell any ships with real money to make their game work. But obviously that's just not reality. So I think balancing the game around it could lead to, I think, less diverse gameplay, which we don't want. We want orgs to have gameplay at the end of the day. We want like raids and stuff. And maybe that's kind of what you're talking about, dude. They talked about raids at CitizenCon this year. So maybe stuff could be, maybe raids aren't only FPS stuff. You know, maybe a raid could be you go take down the Arlington Idris, but then you have to board it and do an objective. You know what I mean? Like there could be some cool stuff there for multi-crew gamers, right? And I totally agree with you. I think the most powerful thing in the game should be jumping in a ship with some buddies and having fun with combat or whatever. So I would like to see more multi-crew missions. Star Citizen is very balanced at the moment for solo players. It's very balanced.
Yes.
There's not only solo gameplay, but it's very balanced for solo gameplay at the moment, and like small groups, like 2 to 3. And so I would like to see some more gameplay that's dedicated for orgs. It's the way that it is. Like WoW has raids and you can only do those, but if you're in an org, and that's gated content, but it's part of an MMO. It's part of a multiplayer game. So
And I get it too, because like right now we don't have a lot of the capital ships, so you know maybe they're not thinking about that massive size, but we still have giant ships with like big crews as of right now that could use this multiplayer gameplay that I think
yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
One last thing.
Okay.
What do you think it would be about the ability to like for the Reclaimer to be able to upgrade the RMC output machines from like a 1 SCU box to like 8 SCU box?
Oh man, this is a great question. And man, you know what I want really bad? I know it'd be a bit of hand wavium, but I really want the ability to link boxes together like permanently if they're the same material. I really want that. Even if it's like literally like some goofy animation where like the box like gets covered by some metal sheet or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like it deploys like a Iron Man armor around it and then it uncovers and it's now the right size of the box or something. I know that's
Yes.
like a little bit like maybe too hand wavy for some people, but you get what I
But-
mean. Something like that would be really
yeah,
cool.
because like having to move 300 boxes, one SU boxes, is just annoying. But like, hey, let me put 32 right beside each other and then connect them all together,
Yeah.
and then I can move one 32 SU box together instead of having to do it all by one
Yeah.
over and over.
I mean, they're
Yep.
already magnetized together, right? So it makes sense that you'd be able to like lock them in some sort of way.
Exactly.
So I don't know. Someone said torch weld them together. Honestly, I kind of like that idea too. You
Yeah,
can
we've got
something,
the cutter.
just
We've
anything.
got the cutter.
Yeah.
We got the cutter. We could just change it to like change the temp.
Yeah, anything would be cool. But cool,
Yeah.
dude. Well, thanks for coming on. I think you got some good
Yeah.
ideas, honestly.
Thanks, man.
Cool. Yo, GG's. Thanks for jumping on. All right, that was Canadian Hero 9, chat. Canadian Hero 9. Round of applause. Round of applause. And we have our last caller. We have DC. Yo, DC, what's up, dude?
Hey, Berks. It's finally good to be chatting with you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, what's up? How you doing? You doing good?
I'm doing good, you know?
Cool.
So I just had two things I wanted to chat with you about, though we could have some good topics. Is one, the ship backlog. But I know when the Galaxy came out, you and Salty Mike and a bunch of the other kind of content creators had like a really good take, I think, on, you know, the Galaxy and promising new content, new ships, you know, way in advance. I wanted to get your opinion on this with the backlog. I'm less concerned about these new concept ships that they're promising and more concerned about all the existing ships that lack all that cool functionality we saw at CitizenCon. So, you know, think about like capacitors, batteries, component housing. Like, do you think we're going to be completely gated with that functionality until all ships are there visually? Because that to me seems years down the road. Wanted to get your thoughts.
Man, this is such a good question. I always talk about this. Is anytime they introduce gameplay that touches every ship in the game, it is a massive undertaking. This is why Gold Standard is not in the game yet on every ship in the game, right? Or maybe never will. Maybe Gold Standard is like an updated concept. Now it works a different way where they're just bringing it up to the current standard. And, you know, physicalized armor sounds easy. Converting ships to Maelstrom, okay. Snap your fingers, now they're all destructible. But now you have to make them different destructibility based on the location on the ship. And so it just becomes a much more complicated process. And the answer is, I bet they have some like impressive copy and paste stuff for specifically the engineering stuff that they can probably just like slam onto certain parts of the ship. That they potentially already have planned, like stuff that's maybe connected to the power generators or whatever. But it's still probably going to be a big undertaking. I would say that most likely we are going to get a V1 of engineering on some ships before any other ships, most likely. Kind of like how physicalized components are still not on every ship, right? And they probably won't be for a long time. We still don't have physicalized components on every ship. So I think that we're probably going to get a V1 on the Hammerhead first, maybe on a test server. Maybe it does go to live, and then they'll probably expand from there. It's going to be a long process, though, I would imagine.
Yeah. Just great take on that, I think. Just interesting to see because, you know, I was really impressed with CitizenCon and everything that they set out. And I think it'll be really rich gameplay. But, you know, just got to get that to all ships.
Yeah. What's the second thing? Hit me.
The second thing, and this might be my hot take, but I would love to have your opinion, is I jumped into Pyro the last night, the tech preview. Loved it. Thought Pyro was awesome. But I'm worried about the push for Pyro so soon. Mainly because server meshing tech was awesome, they showed. But I feel like we're going to be in the same spot a year from now when Pyro comes out and we have static server meshing and, you know, we can go from Stanton to Pyro. But server performance is still going to be awful on both Stanton and Pyro because it's still a single server running a whole system. So to me, I guess in my brain, I was thinking, gosh, I would have loved if they came out with static server meshing as like planet-based first in Stanton. So it was like Microtech, Crusader to actually help with Stanton server performance. But I get they want to get Pyro out and content. I love the system. I think it's great. It's just I'm kind of worried about that. Wanted to have your thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, honestly, personally, I think that the release of Pyro was a move from CIG to keep, I think, people interested. And I don't think it's in response to how maybe in response to how 318 went. But I don't think it's a response to how the community's been feeling the last couple of months, because a lot of work went into CitizenCon. So they've been probably planning to release the playground for a while, I would say. I do feel like it's early, but also I think everyone who's played Pyro agrees that it feels really good. Like the missions feel good, the locations feel good, the outposts are really cool. Like it feels like they put a lot of time and energy and love into it. Now, should they have released it in a different way, like server meshing first or whatever? I mean, I don't know. It's two different teams working on those things, right? So maybe I do see where you're coming from 100%. But as far as I know, Replication Layer is not in any version of a PTU or tech preview yet. So I think they're going to be releasing. I got unofficial confirmation from CIG that after the tech preview is done, Pyro is done, they're going to be testing out replication on it. I don't know if that's true or not. It's just what I heard in passing from a CIG employee. So it may have been like an offhanded comment that they didn't mean. But I think that when after replication gets tested and it's done and it works and it's good, then they're going to go to static meshing, and then maybe we'll get a 2-system stance in Pyro, and then hopefully from there, hopefully, we start to see server performance increase. Because static meshing is going to get a little bit more dynamic. It's going to be like per planet, like you talked about, or like whatever per region, and then it will move to being dynamic. But that's still probably, I would guess, 2-3 years away minimum if everything goes right. But the process to get there is going to be like just ongoing. Like, I don't think we'll get live Pyro until late next year, most likely.
No, great perspective. And, you know, I agree. I really see like Pyro's looks, it just feels better. Like you can tell like they've grown. It's like, you know, we talk about every time they release a new ship, it's just better. You know, you go to these locations and I'm like, wow, you know, it's just better. Now, granted, you know, we need the content to go there, and I think the new missions are awesome. So, you know, we'll just have to see how it all, you know, banks out.
I think that's all this all is, right? Like it's really easy to be like, man, I wish they would have like worked on server performance first. But like, I think it's all Star Citizen playing this game is like a roll in the dark going, man, I hope they're able to do this, huh? Like, I hope they're able to fix this. I hope they're able to do this. Because, I mean, if they can't, then we don't have a game, right? Like, at the end of the day, no matter how big CIG dreams and how beautiful their universe is, at the end of the day, if stability doesn't work, if the servers don't work, then we don't have a game. So, I mean, dude, I'm really hoping they can pull it off, you know, because at the end of the day, before being a content creator, it's my dream game too. So, I wish CIG the best of luck. I do not wish I was in their shoes by any means, but cool. You got anything else you want to talk about, dude, before we bounce? You're our last caller.
No, I'm good. Just yeah, appreciate it, Berk. Keep on creating the great content, and yeah.
Cool. Thanks, dude. You too. GG's.
See ya.
Okay. All right. Yo, well, thanks everyone so much for coming on. This was our technically first week of Citizen Talk. Next week is going to be a little bit more polished. You know, we just had a little bit of issues with my stream dying, or my stream PC dying. But yeah, if you guys are still listening, I do really appreciate you guys on YouTube checking out the content. If you guys who are in Twitch chat want to check it out, it's going to be on my Berks Reacts channel. Every week, Friday, we're going to be doing something very similar. We'll talk about all the content that happened this week in Star Citizen, and then we'll take some calls. So I love talking to you guys about this stuff. It's really fun. This is probably my favorite part about doing this, is just like getting to like talk to you guys, because I get to talk to you via chat, but I don't get to talk to you guys via like voice very often. So it's nice. It's refreshing. So thank you guys so much for joining. I will see you next week. This is Citizen Talk signing off.